Good morning. Good morning. Another fabulous edition of the, as I call it now, it's so funny to say it, the Regina Rosa Celeste show. And I'm so happy because I have an amazing, amazing, dear close friend and also amazing. She's so much. She's a light worker. She's a action taker. She's a go-getter. And she is one of my favorite gratitude gangsters. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Miss
that's a lot of
Vismaya
amazing.
Rubin.
Thank you.
You are amazing. You are, sister. How are you this morning?
Good. I was actually just trying to share this, but I'll do it afterwards. I don't know. I can't figure it out right now. I'm good. Today's a good day. It's a great day to have a great day.
It is. And I love that saying. I love that saying. It's a
Yeah,
great day
me
to have a
too.
great day. So,
It's funny. I just want to share this. I say that it's a great day to have a great day, and I woke up and I was looking through, or yesterday I was looking through some pictures, and I woke up this morning and just tears started to fall. And it would have been my friend's birthday today, but she passed away in November. And I'm feeling the pain and the sadness, and I'm just looking at her pictures and remembering all the memories, and a thought came in my head, and it's like, you wouldn't be so sad if you hadn't loved so much. So
mm,
I honor her today. I remember her today, and I experienced the happiness and sadness. And I just wanted to share that with you because, as we were saying, today's a great day to have a great day. That doesn't mean that we don't go through all the emotions. And today, even in the short time I've been up, it's been like,
oh, yeah. Well, and, I got to say, Vismaya, like you and I, we've been through a lot. And I love so much of our journey together because watching how you've shifted, how you've evolved, and how you've become so much, I'm going to use the word softer. Like, even for you to open up with that is so perfect and so relatable to me because even this morning, having an interesting influx of things show up in my world today was quite unique. And you were someone that I reached out to, which is so beautiful. And for you to share what you just did, it's such a great reminder of living life in the moment and living life with pure joy and pure, for me, it's about purpose, right? And like you live with purpose, you live on purpose, and everybody's human. We all make mistakes, and sometimes some mistakes are bigger than others. And I know that, in my own journey, I know that I've learned a lot, sometimes from my greatest mistakes, right? I've bumped my head a lot of times, and I hold space for people in the same way, right? Trusting that everyone's doing the best they can. And I think that's really what your movement is all about is, gratitude, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. I just want to share with those that might be watching or watching the replay later. Thank you, number one, for joining us. And number two, today's going to be about conversation about gratitude and also about this movement, this revolution that I feel I got gifted, which is the internal peace revolution. So I'd love to talk about how those two movements combine, how they blend, right? And how, your journey on being an internal peace renegade and mine being a gratitude gangster. It's so interesting how things align because when a few years ago, when I first started the work that I'm doing now, which is the internal peace renegades, I call it revolution now. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what it was going to be. And I remember looking up to you, and I think I shared this with you a few weeks ago, which is why you're here today. And I said, Vismaya, I love this thing that you've created, this movement, and it inspired me. So tell those that might be watching now or later a little bit about what's a gratitude gangster, first of all, and why.
so a gratitude gangster is a person who is skilled in the art of appreciation, who lives life to the fullest, and who finds magic in life's challenges. And the idea, that name was coined by my 10th grade students, and I got a lot of slack for it. People said you can't call yourself a gangsta. That's not a nice word. You should be a goddess or a guru. And it's interesting because some people, when they introduce me, they still won't say the word gangsta. They'll say gratitude goddess, gratitude guru, and I kind of chuckle. But really, the term gratitude gangsta is such a powerful term. It's an oxymoron, gratitude gangsta. But it came from these kids who really understood the power of gratitude. And do I have time to share a very fast story?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
So I was teaching writing, and these were my 10th graders, and I adored these kids. And we were sitting in a circle. We had just finished talking about, excuse me, why people had gotten into gangs and why they had gotten out. We read two stories, and they were writing a comparative and contrast essay. So after the essay was done, we were sitting in a group, and I was just having a conversation. I go, I don't know why people would be in gangs. And I knew the conversation was going to flow. So Alex looks at me. He's like, Miss, we're gangstas. And my eyes get big, and I'm like, okay. He's like, we're gratitude gangstas. And William chimes in from across the room. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, we're gratitude gangsters. And Alex goes, and we tell people, I like your shoes and I like your hat. And William's like, yeah, and I like your belt. And then all of a sudden they're like, and we hug each other and we just high five each other. And Alex goes, and those guns? I'm like, no guns. He's like, the guns with the flares that say thank you? He's like, that's what we carry around. And in that moment, I realized that these kids, now this was about April. So starting in August when they came in, I was talking to them about the power of gratitude. They had to keep gratitude charts. They had to come up with things every month that they were grateful for. And in the beginning, they thought I had lost my mind and that this was the dumbest assignment they had ever been given, that they were going to lie, that this was just, that I lost my mind. And now it's August, and it's now April, and they're calling themselves gratitude gangsters. I was like, what?
So cool. So when they said gangster, they were saying it gratitude gangster, like it's a good thing. Like it's positive.
Oh, for sure. It's like, when we think of gangsters, gangsters will do whatever they need to do to get what they want.
Mhm.
Well, think about a gratitude gangster. You'll do whatever it takes to make yourself happy, find internal peace, to do those things. And it's not about being happy every moment, like I shared with you just now. It's not about being happy every moment, but it's about recognizing, my new favorite quote is Barbara Fredrickson, and she says, the negative screams at us, the positive only whispers. And
Mm,
it's about turning that volume up and listening to those whispers and hearing those whispers so that they become the things that shout at you. Not that they become negative, but they become the most powerful things you hear in your mind. And it comes through a practice.
yeah. And as you were talking, it was so cool because I was reflecting on some things that had shown up for me this weekend, and I was at a speaking event, and it was really cool. It was actually the first live event that I've been to since COVID began. And there's a lot of whispers in the room about, well, who's doing live events and how dare they do live events, and we're not allowed to do live events, and how come they can and we can't. And it all is very relative, I think, to also how people show up in their lives, right? Where I love that Grateful Monday. Shalita says, I love that. And, it's all about, thank you for joining us, Shalita. It's all about helping, like you said, turning up the dial, right? To that positivity and that positive space. And Mama Julia says, good morning, girls. And it is
Good
all
morning.
it is all about elevating that voice in us, right? Like I do Mindset Mondays and Motivational Mondays, and it's all about elevating that positive voice, because the truth is we all have both, right? Like some people call it the little angel and the little devil, right? Other people call it positive and negative, right? Plus or minus. And I think at the end of the day, there's that, that story about the wolf, right? And there's two wolves, and the grandfather is reading this story to this grandson of his, and he's asking, in the story he's reading him about these two wolves, and the little boy says to the grandfather at the end of the story, which one wins? And the grandfather says, whichever wolf you feed. And it's all about mindset. It's all about, do you want to go down the path of negativity and self-loathing and self-doubt, right? Or do you want to be grateful for the little things, like grateful that the sun is out, grateful that you have legs, grateful that you have a friend, right? And I mean, there's a million things that can take us off track. And, that's why I love your movement, because it is all about focusing on gratitude. And it could be, I'm grateful. Like one of the things that I realized last year when I was going through a really tough time was I went I had a coach that I was working with, and she taught us an exercise, which was about having gratitude for the things that we really didn't want to have gratitude for. So, like, for example, I remember you did a video a couple weeks before COVID about the AC, I think, or there was something that happened
The
in your house.
water, my water heater, the water.
The water, yeah, and basically you had like a mini flood in the house, right, or something similar to that. Maybe it wasn't mini; it was probably bigger than mini, and
It was mini because I was home.
because you were home, so you took care of it, and how you had the opportunity and the ability to catch, right, to catch not only the situation but also catch your mind, and you stopped it from going down this rabbit hole of negativity. And I think, especially just in today's life and today's society, there's so much that we can be unhappy about and we can be negative about. And that's where, for me, the Internal Peace Renegades movement started, or revolution started, because I realized that in my own life, I was dealing with a lot of similar, not necessarily situations, but the same feelings, right? Where I felt doubt about something, or I felt, at one point there was a lot of unworthiness there, right? Feeling like I didn't believe in myself, or I didn't feel worthy of whatever it was, right? Having a great career, having a great friendship, having a great relationship, having money, having success, right? And it wasn't until I had an opportunity to really go in and what I call do the work, right? Have the emotional intelligence to claim my internal peace, did I start changing. And then as I started changing, people started asking me, hey, what are you doing different? And I remember we had a conversation one day at the beach, and you were talking, and I love our beach time, right, which we haven't done in a while.
I was
But
gonna say that, yeah.
and we, we talk about this kind of stuff a lot, is like, how do we get to the seed level of what's going on? And I think one of the things that's so important is people really knowing that it's a responsibility. And the reason I call it a revolution, is because it's about being radical about peace, right? Like, if we're feeling good in ourselves and we're feeling internally peaceful, and like you said, it's not going to be every second, right? Because life happens, but it's about accessing that internal peace in any moment. And we've done something that is still, we still get to work on it a little bit, and we're going to do that this week, which is the soul languages. And it's something that is a little abstract and sometimes hard for people to grasp. So share with us a little bit about what it means for you to be an internal peace renegade, and how the soul languages have, with your experience so far, how it's helped you.
So I want to go back to something you said because it answers that question. Like, to be an internal peace renegade is all the first step for me is about acknowledging what's so for me, because in order for me to learn how to acknowledge the things that are challenging, I have to first accept them and notice them and pay attention to them instead of trying to push them away. And I've said that since the beginning of COVID. I was very frustrated with a lot of thought leaders who were getting on and saying everything's going to be okay, just breathe it through. And I could feel myself going, stop saying that to people. That's so damaging.
Mm.
And I think the first part is like realizing, hey, this is what's going on for me. This is what I'm feeling. These are the emotions I'm having. This is the stress that I'm feeling. And to be, an internal peace renegade, or really for me means, what are you willing to do? And it's the same thing with Gratitude Gang. So what are you willing to do to find that space in your life that makes you feel good? Does that mean you're willing to give up a judgment of somebody? Does that mean you're willing to, stop beating yourself up? Does that mean that you're willing to, if you need to get up in the middle of a crazy fest that you're having in your head and start dancing because you know that's going to pull you out of that space? Does that mean allowing you to feel whatever you're feeling so that you're able to move to the next level? And it's acknowledging all of you. And when you acknowledge all of you, it quiets down the other side that doesn't work. It doesn't give it any more power anymore. But it's not because you're suffocating it. It's because you've let it out. You've let it scream. You've let it shout. And again, it's all about practice, because every moment of every day is not going to be that way. And I was thinking this morning, like, why is it so important for me to get this message out? And it's really because when we're able to allow ourselves to feel the feels, whatever we're feeling, that's really when you're able to start to feel the other side also. You're able to feel those juicy moments. And I was thinking, I was taking a shower, I was like, so how do I tell people, like, when I'm feeling that moment of gratitude, like, what does that feel like? And for me, I can feel it in my belly. I can feel it like little, almost like butterflies. And it maybe lasts for 10 seconds and it might last for 2 minutes, but that voice in my head goes, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. And then as far as, the soul languages, I was rereading the stuff you had sent me again. And my three soul languages are caregiver, wanderer, and innovator. And I was going through them again and I was like, oh my God, I'm absolutely the caregiver. I'm definitely a wanderer because it's funny. I'm a triple Cancer, so I'm very much about home, but I love to travel and I love to, like my dream is to be in my car and my gratitude mobile and just be everywhere, and everywhere is home. So it was kind of interesting to see. And then reading, some of the, I'll call it positive and negatives of each archetype. It
Yeah.
was very interesting to see like how valid some of them are.
Yeah. And, what I found to be really true when I'm working with students is, and even, when I was just learning about them, was how they help you maneuver life, right? Like it's kind of like a roadmap. Once you know where you're going and how to get there, it's so much easier to get there.
Right.
So it is. It's very fascinating work, and of course, when I see it as on my side of the table, so to speak, I'm always like excited because I can see where people are stepping into that role, right? So, and I can also see where they're not, and even myself, like that's why coaches I think are so important, and having people, mentors that we can relate to, that can help guide us and reposition us. So like for yourself, like as a gratitude gangsta, I think it's awesome because you help show people when they forget what it means to be grateful, and I gotta say, like in all authenticity, you were talking about judgment, right? And I was noticing myself this morning, um, judging behavior, right? Not judging people necessarily, but judging behavior. And it was so cool because as it was happening, I thought to myself, what's going on in me right now that I'm feeling like my peace is being robbed? And I say the word robbed because when someone takes something from us, it feels like we're being robbed. It feels like we're being like ripped off, right? And that's where the magic of reclaiming our internal peace and reclaiming our gratitude, because that's the opportunity that we get to bring it back. And things are going to happen in life. People are going to get sick. People are going to lose their job. We're going to have breakups. We're going to have financial loss. We're going to have financial ups. We're going to have, career expansion. We're going to have disease, right? We're going to have world chaos. And then we can also have peace in our hearts, right? And that's why I love this work, because it is so important. And it's like you said this morning when you got up, you said, what is it that I want people to know? Like your mission, I really believe your mission on this planet. And that's why I love seeing you as an innovator. Like even the background, right? It's so cool. Like how you innovate, how you create, you do. And that's the magic, is when we're all living in that place of our true, authentic selves, we don't have space to make noise and create drama in other people's worlds because we're busy creating life, right? So that for me is my mission, is I feel really strongly about helping revolutionize this concept of internal peace for people, and helping them see that when they have peace in their heart, they're busy creating magic.
Right.
They're busy creating content that inspires people, motivates people. It doesn't scare people or bring people down, right? And the beauty of all of that is that when I see it, I get to say, oh wow, when was the last time I did that? Because I don't like that. And it helps remind me the contrast. So I think contrast is so important. And I love what you shared about life's not going to be perfect all the time. It's not. Like anybody that's like, oh, my life is perfect. Well, I'm sure there's a moment where it's not. Let's be real, you know?
Right.
And frankly, it's not supposed to be perfect. Like if it was perfect, we'd have nothing to strive for.
Well, you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again. My favorite positive psychologist is Tal Ben Shahar. And I remember hearing him speak one day, and somebody said, Tal, he's a happiness. He taught two of the largest classes at Harvard. And the interviewer said to him, Tal, do you ever get upset? Do you ever get sad or angry? And he's like, well, he goes, of course. He's like, there are only two people in the world who never experience negative emotions. And the interviewer looked at him and he looked at her and he says, do you know who they are? She thought about it for a minute. So the only two types of people that never experience negative emotions are either dead or psychopaths. So I always share
Oh
with
yeah.
right? I always share with the people in my movement. I'm like, if you are alive, alive and you're feeling angry, sad, frustrated, celebrate because you're not dead and you're not a psychopath. I feel like there's an elephant in the room, and I'm just going to say this. Every time I get on camera, I feel like I have to itch. So I don't know if it's the lights.
Let's do it together.
I'm
Let's do it.
noticing
Rub that
every
head.
time I'm
Everybody,
on camera.
rub your head. Come on, let's all do it together. Get in there. Give yourself a scalp.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Nice, sexy scalp massage.
But I'm telling you, it's like an elephant in the room. Every time I get on camera, I'm like, and my friends will be like, why do you always touch your face? And I'm like, it's almost like, I'm not going to say I'm allergic to lights because I love being in the camera. But every time I turn on the camera, I'm like, so elephant in the room cleared up. That's it.
Well, you look great on camera, and I'm so happy to have you on here. And I want to honor everybody's time, and I love connecting with you, and I'm excited for our beach time again because I'm ready. If I have to wear a mask to see you, I will. But
So we just need to
when
pick a
time
day.
is right, we need to what?
Just pick a day.
Let's pick a day. I was actually thinking about it yesterday, so yes. I'm in. So, okay, so before we wrap up, what is the one thing you want people to know about being a gratitude gangster that they can take with them the rest of the day and week?
Join the movement. You'll have a lot of support. You'll have people who will, hold your hand to go through this, and really the idea is that it's about a gratitude practice, not a gratitude perfect. I never use the words attitude of gratitude because it's about, every day looking consciously, searching, even if it's the worst day of your life, looking for that one moment, that one gratitude wins that brings you peace and joy and happiness. And again, tuning that brain into to look for it and find it. So
I love it. I love it. And I love you, sister. And it's so nice to have you on here.
Can I tell people how to find me real fast?
Yeah, please.
So text the word grateful to 64600 or go to livingingratitudetoday.com.
Love it. All right, everyone. Have an amazing, awesome day. And we will see you again soon for another edition of Mindset Mondays. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.